Everybody, David Atkins, target individual. Today I'm going to do a video. I'm going to merge in a video, an interview me and Holly did with Anthony Kimura. His YouTube name is Target Individual Battered Angel. Um, and I'm going to put his YouTube description in my description. I mean, his YouTube link in my description box. That way you can find him and support him because you know how the algorithms are for target individuals. So, um, I'm going to just say a Bible verse real quick, and then I'm going to merge the video in. In this world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. That's from John 16:33. Thanks.
All right, so now we're rolling. Yeah, I've been wanting to get to know you, man. I wanted to meet you. I've been watching your videos for a while. I'm a big fan of all your videos.
Oh, thanks, man. I just been the reason I do the videos, man, is because if I'd have had them videos back in 2013, 14, and 15, I probably wouldn't have cut my throat, my wrist, and done all that crazy stuff trying to kill myself, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
I cut my throat. I had 17 staples, 17 stitches of blood transfusion. I cut my wrist. I didn't know what was going on. I had people everywhere following me and all that. And people can say, "Oh, well, that's plausible deniability. How do you know they were following?" Well, you know when you're being gang stalked, you know.
Yeah.
And then what happened? My stuff, man. I was I was working at a chicken plant, and I got carpal tunnel real bad because what they were doing was I was popping bones. You got to pop the thigh bones out.
Yeah.
And what they were doing was they were making me pop bones all 3 rounds, where you're only supposed to pop bones 1 round per OSHA because it causes carpal tunnel. Well,
Oh,
they
wow.
found out I got carpal tunnel and I got FMLA. You know what a FMLA is?
I don't know what that is.
That's where you get an excuse to go to a doctor. They have to
Oh,
let you
okay.
off work to go to a doctor because the injury was caused there. So they start bullying me at work and stuff. So anyway, they keep making me pop bones. I'm not supposed to do it, but I do it every day because I need a job. So, boom, one day the dude comes to me and says, "Why don't you go to HR? We want to talk." Well, I'd been going to HR and recording stuff, recording them, harassing me and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Why don't you go to HR? I I want you to go to HR to talk to us." I said, "I'm not going to HR without my union rep." He said, "You're fired." Well, listen to this. So, have you ever heard of getting fired and getting unemployment? I won my unemployment case. I had them on recording. But all that would bite me in the ass in the end because I went to a lawyer. The lawyer's like, "I'll take your case pro bono, 35%. We'll sue them because you won your case on unemployment. I'll take it for free." Well, after that, they turned the stalking. They turned everything up on me, made me homeless, and I couldn't keep up with my lawyer. So I lost the case. So ever since then, I've been heavily, heavily stalked, burnt with
Yeah.
weapons, all that. Um, Man, I didn't know what was going on at first though. Like I called my wife. My wife was my handler. Like she was in charge of everything. And I called her and I'm like, well, how the hell you got all these people why following me, looking at me, and then looking down at their phone, texting. Um, I ended up leaving. Well, she tried to set me up a bunch of times. I don't know if you watched my testimony with Roy.
I've seen you talk before. I don't know if I've actually heard
Oh,
your actual
yeah, I
testimony.
had a testimony with Roy where I talked about this. Like we were going down a highway and these 3 cars come, well, about 5 cars come in the front of us, 5 on the back. She pulls over, "David, I'm sorry." Well, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't take no chances. I pulled my gun out, had to put it in my wife's head, because I didn't know what was going on. They're getting out of the car, running up to my door. So I was like,
Yeah.
"You better drive." So man, I've been in all kinds of situations like that. But when my V2K and my direct energy weapon started, I was in Springfield, Missouri, trying to check into hotels. And every time they let me get to the counter, I'd show them my ID and stuff. They'd be checking me, and then they'd get a call. Then after the call, they'd hang up. "We're sorry, you can't check in. We're full for the night." I'm like, "What?" After about 6 hotels, I walk out of Hampton Inn. I'll never forget it. And I hear my wife's voice, my handler's voice, and her friend laughing. "Ha ha ha! Look, he can't even get into a hotel." Well, I'm thinking that they're there, I look
Yeah.
everywhere. I'm in the parking lot looking in cars. I climbed the fence to the swimming pool, looked over the swimming pool, nobody's there. So then I start getting heated up with weapons in my head. Very, very hot. Couldn't even see, blurred vision. They got me on the I'm on the sidewalk So when I step on the grass, it gets worse. The sidewalk's right here, the grass is right here, and the road's right here. Well, when I step in the road, it stops. And I'm getting burnt so bad I can't even think or see clearly. So I step on the road. I'm walking in the middle of the road. And so uh, that was the first experience I had with direct energy weapons. And a cop comes and he holds a gun to me and he's like, David, stay right there. And he's like, why are you moving side to side? I'm like, because it's lessening whatever y'all are doing to me. And he calls on the radio and says, hey, can you tell me his blood pressure and his heart rate remotely? And they tell him over the scanner. Anyway, I go to the mental hospital. Just stuff like that, man. Like the other day, me and Holly was talking about gaslighting. We look out the door, there's a car parked in front of our house. Car pulled up in front of our house, stayed there for about a minute or two, and I got the car on tape. It says gaslight on the side of the
You
truck.
said that in your video, bro. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah. So just, man, she gets burned real bad. I wish I had some burns on the computer. This is Holly, by the way.
Hello, Holly.
Hi.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
you see her?
Hey, yeah, I can see both of you.
Okay.
How are you?
Oh, you can?
I'm good. Well, if you zoom over, if you move over a little bit, move the camera a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now you can see both of you.
Now she's got some testimony too. Like
I bet.
I was in the hospital, and I had something happen to me at the airport. I was getting stalked heavily and stuff, and I was on the phone. All of a sudden, my legs started getting really, really heavy and stuff. And when I was walking, and I just fell out at the airport, woke up in the hospital. I was there 45 days. I had a catheter in 40 of them days. And my left leg was messed up, wouldn't work. Like it was paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? Like halfway paralyzed. So boom, I'm in the hospital. I start making videos in the hospital. She reached out to me. If it hadn't been for her, I've been on the streets like 9 years before I met her.
Damn, brother.
And then ever TI in 2018, I was in like 12 different states in 6 months. And these TIs, I was new to the TI community, you know, on Facebook and stuff. So these people were like, oh, David, we're going to help you. Come here, come here. And I'd go to the house. I remember one woman had a one of them popcorn tin buckets full of knives. She said, David, I'm glad you're here, but I'm going to have to tell you, if I start throwing knives, get out of the way. There's people cloaking in my house. So anyway, I went to all these different people saying they were going to help me, who perked me, kicked me out the next day, and then ruined my name on Facebook, like a smear campaign, you know?
Oh, wow.
And when I was homeless, see, I'm blacklisted. Like stores won't mess with me. I can't get hired nowhere. Like I was in Colorado, tried to use my food stamp card, and I seen somebody go in there and use their food stamp card. They tell me we don't take food stamps. Completely black. So I'm convinced whatever I did when I sued that company, oh, they put it on me.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy, man.
The blacklisting. So I mean, I know you probably experienced it up.
Yeah, I've experienced some crazy stuff, man. I've been I don't know what to call it. I've been targeted for about almost 9 years, and my targeting's bad. I'll talk about that, but I want to ask you some questions if you don't mind. Ask both of you some questions. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with ideas of things that we can do to kind of get the message out there on what's happening to us targeted individuals. You make videos. I try to make videos. They interrupt my service and block me from making videos, or they chop my videos up. They're all over my computer. They're all over my phone. But I came up with some questions I want to ask you, and I basically am looking at you as like you're basically an expert, bro. You know what I mean? You have the background. Both of you are experts on what's going on with targeting. So I just want to pick your brain a little bit, get the message out there for new TIs that might come on to my webpage, and then they can see the video and give them ideas on things that they can try. Because we're honestly, bro, we talk a lot on Facebook, but we're not really doing anything. You know what I mean? We're not showing up at the Capitol. We're not picketing or not picketing. We're not protesting. We're not doing anything really. So I'm trying to see if I can come up with some ideas for targeted individuals on things we can do.
Yeah, it definitely has to be done. They got me programmed to where if I close my eyes right now, I will start getting shocked in the back of my head. My whole body will start vibrating. I'll get real nauseated and I'll get heated up in my head. And I'm going to show you my this thing I bought. because I want to show it on here. You probably done seen that cap I had on the other day.
Yeah, that looks like a good idea.
I want to show it for, yeah, because when you're getting heated up in your head and it's only $8 on Amazon. And when you put it over your head, when you're getting heated up in your head, oh, it's so relief. And then she even had a real bad headache last night. She was getting hit and she put it over her head and it helped her headache.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
really
So it's only $8, you know. I know I've been waiting months to get one. I was always thinking they were expensive, and I was like, man, I'm gonna spend $8 on that. I mean, if a
Exactly.
Target because you go buy a bunch of shielding. I've seen Target spend $4,000 or $5,000 on shielding, and they can beat that. So you got to figure out ways to cope with it.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know if you can see the Mylar on the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Well, we don't know if it does or not. We just got it there just because, you know, it seems to work, but she still gets hit. I still get hit. So, you know, who knows?
They might turn it down and make you think that it's working so that they
Yeah.
can hit you later. And yeah.
And then
we get hit in different ways. My targeting started about 7 years ago, and the first stage of the program is distress. They want you in complete distress. They want to isolate you. And matter of fact, right in the middle of the first part of the program, I went to the gas station and a man walked up to me and he said, "Holly, are you in distress yet? You in distress yet?" I said, "No, who the hell are you?" He said, "Just checking on you." So I had people following me. I had the FBI in house at my job. I had people following me to from everywhere. I ended up sleeping in my car for 3 months because I thought they were trying to kill me. And with my dog, who warned me, well, I can't tell you how many times when people approached in the middle of the night. And it was utter hell. They broke in my house over and over and over and over. I got home from work one day and they had murdered my cat. They beat my cat to death. There was blood splattered all over the walls.
Oh my God, dude.
And yeah, they beat her to death. And I had a slight break because they were my kids, you know. And that's how it started. They took me from my home for about 3 days. I narrowed it down to about 3 days. They put me back in my bed on a Sunday in a work dress. And I have a bodysuit of implants. I have implants above each eye and wrists, all over. Even my scar, a scar that I have down lower, leaked. They inserted implants there. They put implants all over me. Now, later, that would be to hit me with lasers precisely. I've gone blind in my right eye from lasers. I had to have surgery to get my sight back. They caused me thyroid cancer. I had 4 tumors I had to have removed. And
can you see that?
I kind of can. It's a little blurry.
Oh yeah, because I put tape over my camera.
I do that too. I put a
burn.
Band-Aid over
It's one
mine.
of her burns. I should have uploaded them on the computer. She's got millions of burn pictures where they burn her.
yeah, they burnt me once from ear to ear, covered the whole. It was first, second, third degree burns from lasers. I have drone. Mine is delivered via
I
drone.
don't know if you can see.
I have about 3 military drones that hover above my house 24/7.
I have 3 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got pictures. We've got a couple pictures. I caught them on video one night.
We've got pictures of the lasers in the front yard, 3 of them coming down.
Oh my God.
But anyways, they follow me to and from work and burn me. They burn holes in my face. I have holes in my face, indentions, holes. I've been going to a dermatologist trying to get it corrected. It's costing a fortune. And they hit me while I'm at work through the windows. And then they hit me on the way home. They burnt me so bad on my stomach area. They burst all the blood vessels in my entire stomach. And it's all risen to the surface. They heated me up so bad. And I can't even tell. But anyways, for your viewers in the future, the first part of this program is distress, gang stalking. They want you in utter distress. They want your reactions. They want your emotional. Like my handler was CIA, and he entered the picture. I thought he was trying to help me. I didn't know he was trying to kill me. And
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, she said, all right, when she told me her handler was CIA, I was a little leery.
Oh,
But
he
the
is.
stuff I've
He is.
seen pulled, like me and her will be talking about something and he'll post it, boom. Or I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And the stuff she told me he did to her, like pulling that metal thing out of his ear.
He could read my mind real time. He had a silver piece in his ear, and his ear actually bled several times. They would translate what I was thinking to him through this earpiece that was down near his ear canal. Anytime I thought something, he would say, "Wow, Holly, really? Huh, really?"
Yeah.
So I knew he knew what I was thinking real time all the time. And also images. If I had an image, I would test him. I would put an image in my head and he would respond accordingly. So these people can read your mind real time with B2K. Um, Now I do have a bodysuit of implants that was done early on. It was done early on because they needed them in there for their future antics with these lasers. So he in the future would say, "Oh, Holly, look up. What do you see? What do you see? Look up." And I couldn't see the drones in daylight, but you can clearly they have to be lit up at night because of they're in U.S. airspace, so they have to be lit up. So you can clearly see them at night. And anyways, back to the gang stalking. After the gang stalking, and they've isolated you well, because you don't want to involve your family for safety reasons, which I did not. And so you become further and further separated from loved ones because you're in your own little world trying to deal with this, and you don't want anybody involved because you're trying to keep everybody safe because you don't know what's happening. Had I known what was going on, I would have made some very different decisions along the way, but especially I wouldn't have moved off with my handler. Okay, I mean, I literally moved off and in with him,
But a
and
lot of times
it got
families in
much
on
worse.
it.
Well, sometimes family members are in on it. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. My family, there wasn't.
No.
No, absolutely not.
But in my family there was. And if you go
Mine
to
too,
one
yeah.
of, did you see my first videos where my mom was talking to, where I got my first 4 videos on YouTube? If you scroll all the way down to my first ones, it's my mom blackmailing Dan,
The
telling me I'm
way
gonna be
the
kidnapped.
video just cut out when you were talking. What did you say?
Wow. It was my mom saying I was going to be kidnapped. It was my mom's blackmailing me, saying if I didn't get money from my dad, she was going to kick me out. Well, she eventually, I didn't get money from my dad, and she found out I had her on recording doing that stuff. So she left me. She said, "David, we're going to Walmart. I want to buy a necklace." I said, "A necklace?" But she would take me to Walmart to torture me. She knew I couldn't stand Walmart, and she would stand around the whole time in Walmart while I'm walking around getting gang stalked. Well, she took me to Walmart that day, stood at the bathroom for 30 minutes, stayed in the bathroom for 30 minutes. I told my stepdad, "What's she doing?" I thought she was coming to get a necklace. He said, "I don't know." Then she comes out the bathroom, said, "Let's go, we're going." She stood at the car and said, "Oh," she called the police and said, "David threatened me. I need to do something about it. He needs mental health. He's mental." Well, I had the video where she was blackmailing me and said she was going to do that if I didn't get money from my dad. I showed the police officer. I ended up homeless under a bridge because of that. My own mom done that to me.
So let me ask you guys. So I have some things I wrote down. So if somebody's a new targeted individual, how would you describe what a targeted individual is?
You're chosen in advance. They've already studied your personal habits. They know exactly what you like, exactly what you don't like. They know who you hang with, who you don't. They know your family members. They know where you go, when you go, the time, the date.
They've already got you profiled.
They've already got you profiled way in
start.
advance. When I was before all of this happened and I ran miles a day, they would have people sitting in vans taking notes. I would see these men staring at me taking notes by hand.
And
Um,
in
and
a lot of cases too, what they'll do is they'll send notifications out to everybody in the community of something you did, and whether it be pedophile, drug dealer, it could even be snitch, old folk abuser, child abuser, just something to make somebody just look at you with scorn. Notifications are sent out to businesses, churches, and all the and like a neighborhood watch thing. And I've even heard they got neighborhood watch apps where they all communicate on. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't proven it, but I really think, and I even heard that the handlers, a lot of the handlers, uh, communicate via synthetic telepathy. Like they pump the thoughts into the handlers. I mean, they pump the thoughts into the gang stalker's head on what to do. And it's mind controlled. I've also heard it was demon possession. Satan's running a program and putting this and making everybody. There's just a bunch of different things.
I hear that a lot, but I think that they say that to discredit the TI community.
Yes.
Because they have a lot of people. They've got a lot of people.
Aliens and all that. Come on, man.
They come onto the site and you'll post something that's legitimate, that makes sense. And then somebody will come onto the site and say, well, in my case, it's all witches, warlocks, and Satanists and alien technology. And you're like
idiots. Yeah.
Trolls. Now I don't doubt they don't use some kind of witchcraft with their technology, but that don't mean that it's all witches and warlocks and aliens and stuff.
Not.
This technology's been around since the 50s. It's been around since the 50s. See, they always tell you the technology, they're 300 years in advance right now on what so we only know about what we know about. For all we know, everything we know about targeting is wrong. I mean, there is ways to do stuff. You can map out the human brain, but who's to say that they're not using something more advanced on us that we don't even know about? All we can do is go by the technology that we know can be used,
The Navy has the most money for directed energy research. The Navy is the #1 culprit. They have the most money delved out to them for all of this research. And now in the beginning of mine, they sent me pictures of ships, U.S. ships on my phone. They sent me lots of copies of Navy men on my phone. I had a man call me from Iraq, one of the U.S. soldiers from Iraq, and he said, Holly, he said, it's a lot more dangerous over here in Iraq. Over there in the U.S. than it is here in Iraq. Trust me. He's,
Back to the question you asked, a target individual basically sentenced to death, a slow death.
Slow kill.
Now they murdered my friend Lynette. I talked to her for 2 years every day. She put her gang stalker everywhere on Facebook. Lynette Castle, you can look her up. I did a memorial for her on YouTube. Still got the last letter she wrote me. She was exposing her gang stalker, putting him everywhere, and it was a black dude. Anyway, Charles Thorpe was his name, and he ended up he's in prison right now. They found her cut up in a box. She kept putting it, and she was putting it on Facebook like, oh, he's stalking me, he's gang stalking me. And she was speaking out about all kinds of stuff on Facebook, and her family and stuff would put, you're crazy. And then after she got murdered, her sister went in there and said, do you think she's crazy now? Because she was telling people the stuff was going to happen to her. But yeah, a target individual is placed on a list to die. They choose whistleblowers, activists, dissidents. You can't run in that person's house with martial law and start killing people. So do it slow with radiation. They're depopulating slowly. You can't just call martial law and say, all right, we're going to take each and every person to FEMA camp. That's too complicated and too much outrise would be. So you do it without them knowing it. 5G, smart meters. You know what I'm saying? Slow kill. And if you put enough people on a list and slow kill them, then the population gets cold.
I think a lot of it is experimentation.
Yep.
True talk. I think a lot of it's experimentation. I was asleep one night on my sofa, and this was about 6 to 7 years ago, and my cats were laying on me. It was just me and my cats and my dog. And of course, cats know when someone's in your house before you know. And they all dispersed at the same time, scratched the hell out of me. And then all of a sudden, a hand grabs my upper thigh, and then a rag goes over my face. Okay, so it was chloroform. They knocked me out. When I woke up hours later, there was blood all over my coffee table.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was my blood. Now, what they did to me, I have no idea. If they implanted more in me, I don't know what they did. But this is the kind of stuff they do. They also put a bomb on my car and imploded it while I was driving.
I
It,
saw pictures of the
it,
front end.
it blew the front end of my car. The record driver was like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like this in my life. That's because it was a bomb and it blew the whole front side off. While I was driving, I almost had a heart attack.
And our goal is they want to make you kill yourself, go crazy, label you as schizophrenic. Because once they get you labeled as schizophrenic,
It's all over.
whatever you say, they can be like, oh, you're schizophrenic. And then people ask me, well, see, I got tons of evidence, don't we? We got tons of evidence. I do not share it on YouTube. I'm going to tell you why. I'm trying to get the truth out. I'm trying to get non-TIs to believe it. If I start posting these cars and stuff that I know is gang stalking, you might realize it is. But some people that might be starting to open mind to this might be like, well, yeah, that dude's nuts. Like the gaslight thing. Oh, that's a gas company. So what? Well, why was the gas company in front of our house right after I talked about gang stalking? Why'd they pull up and sit in front of the house for 2 minutes and pull off? You see what I'm saying? And make sure I seen the words gaslight. You know, we might see that, but they always leave plausible deniability.
They're very subtle. They're very subtle. They do it in a way where you really can't. And if you're not, like, if somebody from the outside was looking in, it would look totally normal.
Yeah, that's why I don't put my evidence. Well, I got some drawings on YouTube and I got some examples of street theater that happened in front of the house, but I try to stay. We got evidence, and but what do we do with the evidence? Because only target individuals can realize, hey, that's street theater. Hey, that's a burn from a microwave weapon. Because most people might say, oh, that's just a bad rash, or they always leave excuses where they can talk their way out of it or deny you. You know what I'm saying?
One of the first signs for new targets. Okay, this is a biggie. No one likes to talk about it, but one of the first signs for new targets is heavy duty diarrhea. They will hit you with microwave radiation, and the first sign, the first symptom is diarrhea. Bam, you cannot hold it. You go where you stand.
With some weapons.
With microwave radiation.
Yeah.
Which is what they were hitting.
Or they heat your head up.
Well, they burnt
tinnitus.
I'm saying microwave radiation causes
I know, I'm just saying
period.
that's one way to know too, is to real bad tinnitus.
Yeah. Now the first thing I had, period, was tinnitus. I went to my dentist and I'm like, I'm hearing this loud noise in my ear, like really loud. And they were even they were even microwaving me through the walls of my house. I found their plug. They left their plug in my outlet outside. They were even using my own electricity to zap me. And I mean, this is how low down these people are. And anyways, my handler used to say all the time, me and what army, Holly? Me and what army? And, he used to have these group calls in front of me where they were all the gang stalkers. It was crazy. It was right in front of me. And I finally left, finally had enough of the gang stalking in Kansas and left, and I became homeless for months. The perps were freaking everywhere. So for new TIs, the only way that I slowed down the gang stalking and almost stopped it was to completely ignore it. Don't give them a reaction. I completely acted like as if they were not there. I did not give them reactions, and it all but stopped for some time.
That's hard for guys. See, I'm agoraphobic now. I haven't left the house since when? December 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, December 2022, I haven't left this house. Real talk.
Real talk.
I've been diagnosed agoraphobic.
It does that to me too, brother.
Yeah, and it's not, but I will start losing my breath because I know if I lose my temper on one of them, so I start panicking. You know what I'm saying? Because we're men. We like to confront. Hey, what you looking at? Why you following me around? You know what I'm saying? We like to. It's not that we like to, but we like standing our ground.
Yeah.
And when we feel like we're being followed or stalked, sometimes I'm like, man, you know how it is, don't you? You just want to confront them and stuff. But yeah, it's got me to where I go outside, I'll start panicking, want to have panic attacks, can't breathe.
And they condition you to have that response. They've conditioned you to feel that way when you leave your house. That's why they do the gang stalking in the street theater. They want you isolated and away from the public. They don't want you anywhere near society. And if they had their way, you'd be dead. That's what they want. They want you dead.
Exactly.
And I really haven't left the house since December 2022. Well,
I do. I said,
she does.
I said
She's a
ugly.
warrior.
I go to work. I drive to work. I get burnt. I deal with it. I'm burnt at work. I'm gaslit at work. I ignore them. I'm like, that's nothing. You think that's something? I've seen much worse than that shit. You got to be kidding me with that sentence. You know, I ignore them. I completely block them and ignore them, and that almost all but stopped my gang stalking. So for the new TIs, no reaction, ignore them.
And that's
Ignore
hard. That's
them.
easier said than done.
It is easier said than done, but it can be done.
She can
because
do
I've
it
done
though. She's
I've done it.
But see, I'm disabled in my left leg too, so and then I do surveys on Survey Junkie and freelance work, stuff like that for people, you know, and make a little money on the side if I'm lucky, you know. Survey Junkie, what is it? Inbox dollars, stuff like that. So
if you
other
don't mind
than
me
that,
asking, if you don't mind me asking you, like for me, what the reason I'm targeted is I was stupid when I was younger. I got into drugs really bad, and then I acted out when I was on drugs, and they got me. They got me for
okay,
life. But if you don't mind sharing your experience, why did they start targeting you guys? What did you do that got their attention?
I sued the company, a
That's what you were saying.
corporation.
You sued the corporation, and then they came after you.
Then all the stuff started. Now I think I was targeted before then because, you know, I had been through a lot. When I went through a little thing where I was gang stalked in Tennessee, and I ended up freaking out. Like, man, I had never heard of gang stalk until 2018, but I've been a target since 2013, 14, 11, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I freaked out, and I'm just driving because I'm getting followed everywhere by these people and stuff. And I ended up way in Alabama and ended up thinking I started smelling gas. They made me smell gas in my car, and I threw my car in park, and I thought I threw my car in park and jumped out the car because I smelled gas, thought it was going to blow up. They convinced me of that. But they can make you smell stuff too.
Yeah.
Boom, the car went in the ditch. The cops came, and I thought that they were taking me to kill me. So I went off on them. And so I don't know. I really think though that whatever reason I was targeted before, the icing on the cake was when I sued that company. That's when they turned the direct energy, the V2K. They made it. I was homeless on the streets and couldn't even keep my phone charged to uh, call my lawyer because I was always on the move thinking they were fixing to kidnap me and all that. My wife put that in my head, you know, my handler. She put that in my head. Uh, like I would always be paranoid around her because after the first few weeks I was with her, like was about 2 or 3 months, like I came home one day and the computer was gone. The trailer, every time we'd come home, the trailer door would be right wide open, right? Me and my wife from work, wide open. I know I locked that door. She wouldn't be worried about it. You see? So I'm starting to like, and then the computer's gone one day and I'm like, where's it at? She's like, oh, I don't know where it's at. But she wasn't worried about it. But I had bought that computer for her for Christmas, but it was our computer, you know? We both used it. So 2 weeks later, the computer shows up in the place where it was left when it came missing. Oh, it must have been there the whole time. What? The whole time? It was right in the living room, right where we left it. So she gaslit me. That's gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it was there the whole time, David. I don't even know what you're talking about. You're tripping.
So they put these people in our lives. They're honeypots. They insert them. They pick a good person for you.
Yeah.
Okay. After your profile, they pick a certain individual to enter your life slowly or quickly, depending on how you are. And once they get in your life, you know, like David, that was his wife. Well, thank God I didn't marry Tony, which is not his name, as he told, you know, he said, oh, Holly, I can get a name like that. A one phone call, he used to tell me. Um, you know, they put these people in your life and then they take over completely and they further isolate you. Like his wife didn't want him around his family at all,
Yeah.
at all.
Totally
And
isolated. Then now years later, my dad's like, well, you didn't come by when you were married. When you were married, now you want to have a relationship. You know,
Yeah. So.
And I was real big into the church, unless I was preaching at this halfway house voluntarily, and I was basically sitting under a preacher. You know, he was training me. I'd been, let's see, it'd been 2 years I was preaching and stuff, voluntary. I'm talking about the Lord would take over, and I would have everybody would be crying because of the Spirit, not because of me, you know. And I would just, so I was following God, and then I meet her on Facebook, and I go spend one day with her, and 2 weeks later I'm out the door. That was a Jezebel spirit, you know. They get your calling, they see a man with a calling, and but that was my fault too, though. I mean, I'm accountable. So I married her within 2 weeks. And then I went to ask my pastor to marry me. He said, "That's not of God, dude." He said, "I'm not marrying you." So
yeah, so there's so many things, but the first thing is the honeypots. They want the opposite sex in your life, and like Tony slid in via Facebook. He took over somebody's account, and anyways, it's a long story, but I thought he was trying to help me. I even went to the FBI several times myself. I went to their home office where we lived, and they laughed me out of there. They laughed me out of there. They said, "Do you have names, dates, times, proof?" I said, "Isn't that your job? Don't I bring the problem to you and you investigate it?" Mm, they're involved in it. The FBI is definitely involved in it. They clearly showed me that day.
Yeah, they
And
absolutely are.
yeah, the CIA is the
Local
military.
local law enforcement too.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Me
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lynette called the FBI one day, and they had us on hold for like 30 minutes, and then came on there, and this woman laughed. "Don't call us no more," and hung up. So
Yeah.
I don't, you know, and then see, I was in Pensacola, Florida, and homeless shelters would turn me down. You know, one time, and I wish Lynette was here because I'm sure she's got that video. One time I said, "Lynette, watch this. I'm going to go ask for food. They're going to turn me down, and I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to videotape and show you that everybody walking to the church and getting food." So boom, I walk to the church, and Lynette's on FaceTime. They don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Hey, I seen that thing in the homeless. They got this homeless thing handbook in Pensacola." I said, "It says y'all feeding today. Can I get a bag of food, please?" "Oh, we don't serve food no more." I said, "Okay, thank you." And I walked off, hid in the bushes. 10 minutes later, a whole line of people walking away getting food.
Yeah, they blacklisted you, bro.
Yeah,
They
totally
blacklisted you.
blacklisted.
So how did your Holly, how did your targeting start?
I don't know. My husband and I separated in November, about 7.5 years ago. And as soon as that happened and I was isolated by myself, that's when it kicked in. A full boat, full blown. I was isolated, so I think mine was experimentation.
But her mother,
My mother worked for CDC. My mother was a longtime employee for Center for Disease Control, and she knew things that she should not know. They took her out. She's gone. They took my dad out at the same, a little bit before her, and they killed my aunt with Morgellons. So they got 3 of my family members are
They
all gone.
killed your aunt with what?
Morgellons.
you ain't heard of Morgellons?
She had sores covering her whole body, and she bled to death.
Oh wow.
It is little bug. They implant.
Fibers that come out of your. Well, I did a video on it. Some TIs have Morgellons, and they're. It looks like they're pulling piece of towel out of their skin, but it's live and it moves.
It's like wires. It almost looks like
Oh
little
my
And I
wires.
know this
God.
seems crazy right now, but you got to research it yourself.
Oh,
true.
wait till you hear my story. You're gonna think it's crazy. You're gonna think it's crazy, bro.
I just don't want you to think that we're trying to discredit the community, but
No.
if you haven't heard of Morgellons, that's what it sounds like. It's crazy.
Yeah, she was covered in sores, and she was literally covered in sores. And literally it went to her brain, and she bled to death in the brain and died. And her whole when I went over to her house and went in the bathroom, the whole entire bathroom was covered in blood. The toilet, the sink, the floor, the walls, her bed was covered in blood. She literally picked her. It itches really bad. of course, your skin's trying to heal it constantly. So it scabbing up.
It
So
comes from chemtrails, and 1% of the population has that bad reaction of that nanofibers getting on them and stuff from the chemtrails.
Oh, wow.
Chemtrails are responsible for a lot of this stuff too. The chemtrails put metal in your body, and nanospores or smart dust in your body. That's why they're spraying chemtrails. And once they have that, it's like a wireless body area network in you, and the weapons are more efficient, you know. And the remote neural monitoring system, for it to work, they have to have reactions. They want to keep you in reactions. That's why a lot of the gang stalking stuff happens. They still gang stalk me from in here, even though I haven't left the house. They pull up in front of the house. Oh, I can show you a video where them two dudes.
they sent some gang looking boys up to the front door. We have them on film. They were trying to hide their face, you know, doing everything.
And they were laughing walking up to the door.
Yeah, one was disfigured. Then they walked around back.
They had a car pull up right when they walked away from the door, right? This white car pulled up. I guess they didn't know we had cameras. So we're thinking they got in the car, but we got to looking at the camera and they walked all the way around. And when they got to the back, they said, "You're fucking dead."
Yeah.
Nah.
It's crazy, bro. So we've already kind of touched on it. You guys have told me a little bit, but so each of you, who do you think is, I know you guys have already talked about this a little bit, but specifically, who do you think is doing your targeting? Is it the FBI? Is it the CIA? Is it contractors? Is it everybody working together?
I think once you're called to be targeted, or whatever you want to call it, once whoever's high up, I think the government picks people for experimentation, homeless people, dissidents, people who are poor, don't have no family left. Then they also, if you make the wrong person mad, I think
Revenge.
they can call
Revenge.
and put you on that experimentation list. This is just my opinion. And because they got all this technology with this AI and stuff, they got a hive mind, the sentient world simulation, and they need people to test all that stuff out on remote neural monitoring. They want to perfect how to hack the human brain and control people.
If you remember back in the day, Clinton had to apologize because the CIA got caught experimenting on human beings.
Yep.
They got caught.
And you can look that up. Type in Google, any TI watching this, anybody. Clinton apologizes for mind control, for non-consensual experimentation, and a video will show up on Google.
Yeah, so it's been going on that long, if not longer.
Well, John Hall said since the 30s.
I called John Hall in the very beginning of.
He wrote Guinea Pigs, Satellite Terrorism in America. John Hall, you familiar with him?
I'm not familiar with him. I'm going to look him up, though. I'll write that down. John Hall.
Yeah, he wrote 2 books about targeting because his girlfriend was targeted.
Yeah, he's a doctor, and his ex-fiance came to him, and she said, somebody is following me, breaking in my house. He had enough money to put people all over it and caught people. Like, she was literally being mind controlled, and she was literally opening the door in the middle of the night, and these people were coming in and raping her. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, something to that effect. They definitely.
He would block the doors at night, and this is a doctor. He's an anesthesiologist, John Hall.
Yeah.
He's on a bunch of YouTube interviews and stuff. So
I don't know if he called it rape or if he just called. It was consensual. Yeah. Some type of either they.
So she would barricade the doors at night, and when she was sleeping, they would mind control her to get up at night, unlock the doors, unlock her own doors, and let them in. And it was all on camera inside his house. Now, they've done some stuff to me, like in my sleep, hadn't they, Holly? They made me tell him about the broccoli, how that went. When I told you I was going to fix the vegetables.
He's late at night and talked out of his mind and went in the kitchen and done some very odd things. I was just like floored. But...
And she told me about it, and I didn't believe her. And I'm like, man, I didn't do that. So 2 weeks later, I go to open the oven up, and there's a plastic container of broccoli in the oven. If I would have turned that on,
it would have burned the house down. But they just do a lot of things like that. That was it right there. Can you see that? Show me.
I don't think you can see it. The camera's blurry from the tape.
Can you see that?
I can't. It's just hard to make out through the computer.
Blurry because I keep tape on the camera.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
so do you guys believe that once you're a target for life?
Yes.
Yes, there's
So
no
have
way
you
I'll,
ever, in your experience, have you ever met anyone except for the people that are trying to sell us a solution that actually said that they were taken off the TI list?
No.
no.
That's
No.
insane, dude.
All the people, all
I've
the
been in the Facebook and TI community since 2018, and I've never met nobody that
all the people that say that, you see that in chats, you see that in all these different
scammers are trying to make
they're
money off
perps.
TIs.
They're perps, yeah. There's also there's plenty of perps planted in these Facebook groups,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
there's all they have to because they know people are going to come out and talk about this, so they've got to monitor the situation. So you've got all kinds of people that are paid to try to friend you and become friends with you and monitor all these situations that are going on.
That's why we're so leery, you know.
I was too. I was nervous about meeting you. I got I sometimes I'll tell my perps things, you know what I mean? Like I'll tell them stuff just to pass time because they're talking to me. And I told
Yeah.
one of them, I said, I want to go on the radio and do a show. Or I said it in conversation with somebody, but they picked up on it. Some guy hit me up that day and he said,
Yeah.
I've got a radio show and I want to have you on my show. And I was real leery of that. I went on his show and he totally discredited the TI community, talked about aliens, talked about he's from another planet. And he first asked
Oh,
me to explain my experience, and I told him my experience. Then he totally discredited the whole TI community. So I was
Yeah.
like, is David going to be a real person, or is he going to try to say aliens took my brain or something?
No.
No, the technology's real. They can do all that. They don't.
All these people who talk about aliens and shapeshifters and all this crap, that's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry, I don't believe all that. There may be aliens, I don't know, but when people start talking about that, it makes us look like idiots.
Put it this way, my grandpa fought in World War II in the Korean War, and he was second to command on the naval battleship in World War II. And he told me, he said, David, I can't. He said, I said, well, I know you know some secrets. Tell me some secrets. He said, I can't tell them. I'm sworn not to tell them. But he said, put it this way, you ever watch Star Wars? And that's all I'm going to say. And that was my grandpa, and that was in the 50s when he was in the Navy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if he's talking about that technology back then there's no telling what he knew about that he couldn't talk about.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm not sure, and I can't say that this technology isn't from extraterrestrials. How do we know how to mentally tap into someone's brain and talk to them? And talk to them via telepathy? That's insane, bro.
Yeah,
that technology came from somewhere, but I don't like starting off an interview with, oh yeah, we've all been abducted by aliens with this new technology. It just makes us look bad.
But I think that, they paid government, and I got a video on that where this girl showed how they pay trolls to go in there and discredit, get reactions out of TIs. You might post some, you might post a video or something of something happening to you, and they'll be like, oh, that was just this or that was just that, and get you riled up, or totally discredit you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't real. That was just a car park they were on the phone in the car or something like that. Or that's not a burn. That's a rash. You're making it look like a burn. They got people that paid to do that, to cause.
They want to discredit you right off the bat. Tony always said to me, don't you need to go to the mental ward and get diagnosed with schizophrenia, Holly? I think you do. Oh, no, I don't.
Another thing you'll do too is the phones are hacked. So they might send a message from my messenger to you and me calling you names or something like that. And really, I ain't done none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I experienced that. Somebody sent a message from my messenger, I think Chris somebody. Then I get a message because, it wasn't on my messenger that it was sent. I get a message. Why'd you ask me that question? You're a perp. And I got blocked. I'm like, what question? Because I didn't ask you no question through Messenger. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they got control over your phones. They can send text messages they sent text messages to somebody she worked with, acting like her. And they were like, why did you message me? You're fixing to get off work. She's like, that wasn't me. So they totally got control over phones and everything.
Yeah, they have control over my phone. I bought a new phone to try and leave them in the old phone so I could have a clear and free new phone. No such luck. They're in it too. It's just crazy. But anyways, you asked who do I think is involved in orchestrating the whole thing?
Yeah.
The military complex. Definitely. In the very beginning, I had military vehicles following me nonstop. Military 1, Military 2, Military 3 tags, blacked out windows. They followed me everywhere. I was born on an Air Force base. My father was in the Air Force. My grandfather was a brigadier general, and the military followed me. And this guy at work, where I work for a cardiology group, and he was former military. I was wondering why he was there. I think he was planted there in advance. But anyways, he walked up to me one day before I left there and showed me a picture of the male anatomy. And he said, "Do you understand what that means? It means you're fucked," basically, is what he was saying in advance. And then he took me out to his vehicle and opened the back of his vehicle. He said, "Do you know what this is, Holly?" It was a drone. It was a drone. He said, "Let me show you what it can do." He literally got it out of his vehicle. This is the IT guy where I worked. Got it out of his vehicle, put it up in the air, flew it way over the highway. He said, "You see all these images?" He was showing me what it could do, the pictures it was taking, and showed me the ins and outs. And he said, "I just wanted you to see that." And
That's
basically,
crazy.
yeah, so they were showing me kind of what was gonna happen in the future. Yeah. But I didn't know it. I left there. They literally, after they murdered my cat, I kind of had a break, mental break. It was very traumatizing to me on top of everything else. And I literally walked away from that job. I didn't even give a notice. I just never went back. And I mean,
Yeah,
that's when Tony infiltrated me completely, and I let him in. I thought he was there to help. I thought, okay, he's definitely FBI or CIA for sure, and there's something huge going on here, so I'm gonna accept the help. Well, he was behind it the whole damn time, and it's
when they turned it up on me, like I went through a period, like when I say I cut my throat, it wasn't nothing for attention. It was like ripping it open. Like if you seen the scar, like, and then I did my wrist. I mean, I'm 14 stitches in my wrist. I sat there all night in my friend's house, bleeding all over the carpet, hoping I was going to die. And I kept cutting and cutting and cutting. My shoes were full of blood, the whole shoe. Like I was really trying to die. I didn't care no more because the torture was so bad. So for me, you know,
they're heating me up. You don't feel it?
and go get that hat. We need to show it anyway. Will you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're heating her up now.
They do that
yeah,
to me.
because
When I try to make videos, they'll start attacking me. They'll start messing with the chemicals in my body to make me feel to
yeah,
make me feel anxiety or to start feeling sick. It happens all the time.
Another word of advice for TI is don't go be an active shooter or pull a Myron May or Aaron Alexis because it's not worth it. It just makes us look worse because they want to make us look harmful, make everybody scared of us, look at us like we're bad people and stuff. And so I try to tell that on like 1 out of 7 videos. I always use that message because it's not worth it. Myron May, have you seen his videos?
I have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, he really thought that his videos were going to get out because of what he did. Well, all they did was sweep it under the rug. They said, if you look at the CBS report, it says, oh, he was running from the police and went up in the Florida school and shot. They never told his story. So it's not even worth it. Myron May, I respect Myron May, though. And that's the only reason I shared his videos because he asked you in that video to share his videos. But he didn't have to go out that way. But the way he chose to go out, man, he thought he was doing good for the community.
And that's something else
And
that the gang stalkers don't realize is that this government program that's so willing to invade on our privacy is willing to sacrifice them to this cause. So these gang stalkers are going out there thinking, oh, we're just pushing their buttons. We're just pushing buttons.
They're next.
What happens when one of us picks up a machine gun and murders 50 gang stalkers?
Yeah.
They're dead. And the government's not preparing them for that. And I'm not saying I agree with what that guy did or what the others, because I found about 7. I don't know about you. I found about 7 stories that sounded like they could be possible TIs. Recently, there was one about a guy who was an ex-Army veteran that shot a bunch of people.
Michael Card.
Was that his name?
Like that in Maine?
Where he was hearing voices.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he lashed out and killed a
He
bunch of
shot up
people.
a bowling alley.
You would think that when this stuff happens, they would hold Senate hearings and actually talk about what's going on.
They're
And
not worried about it.
they're not worried about it.
Well,
Exactly.
Because they're causing it.
They're
They're
behind it.
causing it.
Yeah, they allot funds to the Navy and other military complexes to research all this. So they know about it because they're giving them research money. So of course they know about it. Congress has to allot that money to military complexes who request for this kind of research. So yeah, they're aware of it. They're definitely aware of it. Clinton was aware of it. If Clinton's aware of it, all of them are aware of it. And it's just, it's sad.
This is called a king pavoni. It's just a migraine ice cap. You look for migraine ice cap on Amazon, $8, and it just came out of the freezer. You just put it over your head when you're getting heated up, and it feels so good. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because
That's
I get
right.
heated
So-
up a lot, and now they'll heat my head up real hot. My ears will get real red, and I'm talking about hot,
Well, my face
sweating.
is really red and I've got a welt on
Yeah.
my face. So
You ain't gonna put that on.
no, we're being hit for sure right now. But when we talk about this openly, we normally do get hit. And that's okay.
Her hits are mostly.
Burns.
See, I think when I was in the hospital, they went in my spine twice. I think they done something because how can every time I close my eyes, I start getting shocked right here, and my whole body vibrates with electricity.
That's
Like,
crazy.
and then I get every time, right? So how can they do that without they can, but
When you have implants, it's more precise.
and then I think there's an AI supercomputer running some of this stuff too. As far as a target asking, well, how can they hit me in a room and not hit somebody else? Your brain, all right, so you got two cell phones or receivers, call the cell phone receivers. When you dial up that receiver, it rings, right? Your brain's the receiver. When they dial up your unique fingerprint, once they get your brain, if they got an EEG or your neural signature, which is not hard to obtain, once they got that, they just dial up that neural signature, just like calling a phone number, and hit it with whatever frequency does whatever they want it to do. And that's how they do it if you don't have a chip in you.
Well, remember I told you they took me from my home for 3 days. When I woke up on that Sunday in my bed in my work, they literally put my work dress on me. So they undressed me and put my work dress on me. And I woke up on a Sunday in my bed and I'm like, oh, I'm in my dress. I got to get to work. I didn't put that dress on.
Mm.
And I drove to work on a Sunday. Of course, there was nobody there. I work for a cardiology group. And I called my boss and I'm like, where's everybody at? And so the next day when I actually went to work, I asked HR if I'd missed any days and they would not answer me. So I was definitely away from my home for multiple days. And Tony had indicated, he said, oh, some people are so strong, they wake up in the middle and yank the thing out of their throat. So apparently they had me down, okay, while they were doing all these implants and had something down my throat and I yanked it out.
This
I
stuff
woke
seems
up
so bizarre, but
yeah,
it's
but
real.
I
I
had,
promise you, we're
I
not.
had all kind of shot marks in my arm where I guess they would put me to sleep. Jab and several of them were jabbed, like it was jabbed really quick. So my skin was messed up where the shots went in. So they had to do it quick. And yeah, I mean, they even put LSD in my wine. I came home from work on after I ran. I had a glass of wine and went on some kind of acid trip. They literally so I wouldn't even eat anything in my house. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't drink unless I stopped at the store on my way home and brought it home and ate it. I would not eat anything that had been in my fridge. They used to send me pictures at my job of men in my kitchen while I was at work.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Um,
sure did.
so real quick, I'll just touch on my story a little bit. When I
Okay.
was younger, I got into a little bit of trouble with law enforcement. I caught a case where I was trying to defend my family against somebody that was trying to come into our house and hurt my child. and I reacted with anger, and I ended up using a gun in the commission of a crime, and I ended up on law enforcement's radar. Well, that happened, and then I got into some more trouble after that, and I started noticing that, like, when I was at the jail after I got in trouble, I started feeling like I was crawling out of my skin and like I was being fried. And it started when I was in the jail, and then when I got out, it stopped, and then it happened again, and then it went away. But this is like there were years between the times when they would show up and it would happen. And then I ended up breaking up with a girlfriend. I got depressed and I started getting into drugs again. And I was making music in my garage. I was making music, but I wasn't stopping to like eat and sleep. I was just making music nonstop and like partying and having a good time. And all of a sudden, with V2K, a voice showed up and said, "That's enough. We've had enough. We're done." And I didn't understand what it meant. And I knew, see, if you're mentally ill and you're hearing voices, most mentally ill people that hear voices know that they're hearing voices. You know what I mean? Like most mentally ill people recognize they have a serious condition and something's happening. But my voices could sit down and have a conversation with me. I could say, "Who's outside my house?" And they'd say, "The mailman." How do you know who's in front of my house? You know what I mean? How is it that exact? And it got worse from there. They told me that that was enough. Then they started amping me up, and then I finally broke, and I ended up going to a hospital because I wanted help. I wanted medicine to make this stop. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't take care of myself. And I went to the hospital. A bunch of sheriffs showed up at the hospital from my area, and they put me in an operating room. And then I knocked out, like somebody hit me with a medication. I passed out and went to sleep. I woke up after I was in the operating room after however long, I'm not sure how long. And I got out and I went home, and I noticed after a short amount of time that I would drink alcohol and nothing would happen. Nothing would happen at all. I could drink a gallon of vodka right now in front of you. I could drink
We
a
know what
gallon
that
of
is,
vodka
don't we?
and drink it and
We know
drink
what
it and
that
drink it
does.
and drink it, and nothing happens.
Yep.
You could take a syringe full of heroin right now and shoot me in my arm with it, and nothing would happen. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to find relief because medicine's not working. They're prescribing medication, it's not working. I'm taking Seroquel, I'm taking Abilify, I'm taking Risperidone, and nothing's happening. I don't feel anything. Well, the guy started inflating my stomach, and I looked like I was pregnant, and I'm like, why do I look like I'm pregnant right now? I'm not eating, I'm not doing anything. I've slowly started realizing they had put an implant in my stomach that catches everything that I eat and drink, and then they can manipulate it. They can make me go to the bathroom, they can make me not go to the bathroom. They can let me have sex, they can make it to where I can't have sex. Um, and it just started getting worse from there. I started they basically amped me up, put me on display for the whole neighborhood because I didn't have curtains on my windows, and the TV would talk to me. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but the TV would start talking to me.
Yeah, they
They
can
would
make that happen.
Yeah, they would show me weird things on my wall. The Batman signal would show up on my wall, and then cops would show up at my door. The Batman signal, and then cops would show up at my door. It got
Wow,
progressively worse.
wow.
I started noticing that the whole neighborhood had a real shitty attitude towards me. I don't know what they told them, bro, but
Exactly.
they told my neighbors something horrible. Childhood friends that I went to school with and grew up with, they won't talk to me.
Exactly.
They'll show up and gang
Same
stalk me
here.
though. They gang stalk me,
Yep.
but they won't have any conversation with me. So it starts getting worse. I'm in the program now for about 7 years, bro. 7 years of not killing myself and enduring this, right? Everybody hates me. My children have been taken away from me. I can't get my kids back. I can't work. I can't sleep. I've went 31 days without sleeping. 31
Mm.
days.
Wow.
That is almost unsurvivable. So they do sleep deprivation on me. Then one day, and I'm telling my perpetrators, I'm telling them, I'm like, I need a fucking break, dude. You're gonna kill me. I need a break. So they amp up my targeting. I go and I have to rent a house somewhere else because I'm kicked out of my house. I rent the house, and then this black guy shows up. He looks like a fucking cop, bro. I'm like, why does this guy look like an FBI agent when I meet him? He's got that look, the poster boy, all American, perfect shape. He probably uses steroids because he's got more muscle than a normal man. I show up at his house. They hit a button, they knock me out, and they remote rape me for 2 days. They remote raped
Wow.
me for 2 days. I'm not sure if they really did or not. They remote raped my mom right in front of me and then erased her brain. She doesn't even fucking remember it. She
They
doesn't
can
even
do
remember
that.
it. And this technology is so advanced that nobody believes us. They're
Right.
like, oh, they erased your brain? Yeah, they did. They
Yeah.
We
talked
believe
to
you
you.
though. We
Yeah, you
believe
guys
you.
believe me. So I go through all this stuff. They do that. I take off from the house. They attack me with all kinds of horrendous stuff. Made me think I was in hell. Had me hallucinating, seeing things. No drugs, no alcohol in my system. I'm just tripping out off the technology. Take me
Yeah.
to a gas station, and a black guy who I believe works for law enforcement. They walked me to a car. If you can believe that, walked me to a car like they were operating a robot. Walked me to a car with this implant that's in my body, and then a guy opened up the car and beat me with a billy club. So they beat me with a billy club in front of probably 20 witnesses. Nobody called the cops, but a cop was right there watching and hit his sirens right after I got the last hit on my head. I looked up, saw the cop, he saw me, he went the other way. I got the message. The cops had fucked me up. You know what I mean? There was a cop watching as I was being attacked. So it progressively got worse from there. They finally attacked me so much they were trying to get me to explode. They want a reaction from you. They want you to hurt somebody in your family, hurt a gang stalker, or take yourself out. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And so they did that. I
Right.
finally lashed out, and I thought one of them were in front of my house. I took off my shirt, went over there. I saw the guy. I'd seen him before. He was a gang stalker. I attacked him. They hit a button. All of a sudden, the veil's lifted from my face. I see who I'm really attacking. They had me attack my 73-year-old father. I got a 4-year prison sentence from that. They had me strip my clothes off and strip naked in front of my neighbors and everybody and run out to the road. I'm watching all this happening as it's happening, and I'm not believing it. I'm like, this isn't real. What's going on? I'm watching myself do these things. They arrest me, take me to jail. Well, my perpetrators have had talks with me since then, and they've told me that that was all part of the plan. We have a plan for you, and it either involves prison, or they said we might let you go when you're 50, but you don't want to know where I'm going to leave you. That's what they keep telling me. So my targeting is pretty severe. Like, I haven't had a girlfriend in 5 years. For me, that's unheard of. I always have a girl. You know what I mean? Like, you're lucky. You found somebody to spend your life with. Always be grateful for anything that you get,
Oh
because
yeah.
you could be taken out the
Nine
game tomorrow.
nine
Yeah.
years of being homeless, man. I hadn't had let's see, since 2000. Yeah, 9 years of being homeless, man. And then I could have gave up many of the days, but you're right, man. I'm lucky.
Now,
You're
in the
blessed.
beginning, it was
We were like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
for real.
We've been through some trauma
Because
this last year.
I thought, who is he really?
And I'm thinking the same thing about her. So we were for about a year, it was hell, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
We're just now getting where we trust each other.
Yeah, we're
That's
just
funny.
now leveling out because we see it for what it really is. But you were talking about them keeping you up for 31 days.
Yeah.
They in the beginning they would keep me up for 3 and 4
Yeah.
days at a time.
Weeks.
I was not allowed to sleep, and I had to go to work like that. And they also, when Tony and I were driving to Florida in my car, he said, "Holly, I'm going to let you drive. And when you start to feel tired, I want to know about it. And I want to get in the driver's seat and drive." So, what they were doing was getting ready to put me to sleep, and they were testing it out. So, they put me in the driver's seat, and I started almost immediately, I'm getting tired. I can barely hold my eyes open. And I figure out, oh, okay, they're trying to put me to sleep, and I'm not going to let them. I fought it and fought it, and finally I couldn't fight it anymore. And I said, "I need to pull over. I can't drive anymore. I'm about to fall asleep." He said, "Well, you did pretty good. Pretty good." So he was definitely the handler. And when I lived in my house, I
Sorry,
did
sorry,
hire.
real quick. Can you move the camera over a little so I can see Holly a little bit better? I just want to get you in the video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she ain't been in the video?
It cut her into half.
Oh,
Oh,
oh
okay.
gosh.
That's great. I hired somebody to come in my house and sweep my house, looking for microphones and cameras. And later, Tony, my handler, he said, "Holly, that was a retired FBI agent that came in your house. They intercepted my phone call. Okay, when I called a private detective to come in and look my house over." He said, "That was a retired FBI agent that did that. They
Damn.
intercept your phone calls." Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. That's how I can't get a relationship. Or they here's another thing they like to do. they get in touch with people that I talk to and tell them, "Oh, this guy's horrible. You know, he's mentally ill."
Yeah.
I don't know what they tell him. They probably tell him he's mentally ill, he's unstable, he's dangerous. This is what he's done. And they show him my rap sheet and they show him something. But as soon as I talk to people, I can just tell they've contacted him. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, because they'll talk about something that I've been talking about lately, or something will come up and they'll use a conditioned word that's been used on me, and then all of a sudden the relationship goes nowhere. And what they're doing is they want me isolated so that they can control me. They don't want outside influences. They don't want anybody getting into my circle that's actually sued the government and won. So do you think I ever find TIs like you? I don't. I never find TIs like you. I find TIs that are probably plants. They're probably gang stalkers.
Yeah.
So I was a little leery about this conversation too. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah,
Now,
for you to meet somebody, you're gonna have to go somewhere off the cuff, okay, out of the blue.
I was in the hospital when I met her. It was a fluke, and I thought she was a perfect person.
I just happened to run across this video and I just thought, oh, I promised God that I would help somebody if I could. Here's my chance. Let me see if I can find him a place to live. And I literally moved him in with a friend of mine. Okay, he didn't ultimately, I mean, he moved in here ultimately.
Yeah, that
but
wasn't the goal, was us to hook up.
no, not at all. I was
She
like,
was just trying to help me.
I didn't, I was basically going to work, coming home, laying down on the sofa and waiting to die. I was not, because they were burning me so bad. They burnt me so bad that I literally had to wear wet towels around my face and my neck at work because I was burnt so bad. And so I was not looking for anything at all. So it was nothing like that at all. But for you to meet somebody, you're going to have to stay away from probably from Facebook because there's a lot of plants out there. You got to be really careful.
But the problem is once I get a relationship with them, let's say I sneak in somewhere and I meet somebody and I go, they're going to contact you. It's going to happen. They're going to tell you horrible stuff. And it doesn't matter. They always go along with my targeters. They always do.
Right.
So what I've figured out is a lot of girls like the attention of being around a bad boy. They like being around somebody that's investigated by law enforcement. They like all this stuff. But you know what they really like? They like being the pet of the FBI or whoever's doing it. They like being their pet. So like they
Right.
give them little missions to do, like stuff. They would have my girlfriend do stuff to me, and I would just be like, "Why are you doing this?" You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense why you're going along with this, but it's to further discredit you or to make you look crazy. And they'll actually help. So I'm actually better off alone. If I find somebody like David did, though, I'll hop on that in a heartbeat. But
Yeah,
it
definitely.
doesn't look like that's going to happen for me.
Well, I never thought I would never have a girlfriend again, dude. This is just a miracle. I was like you, so don't give up, man. Because I was sitting in that hospital. They were fixing to put me out with a wheelchair and a walker, and then boom, it just came in. I'm like, man, 9 years of suffering. God's really going to bless me. This has got to be a setup because everything's a setup, you know. And it
Exactly.
slid by somehow. I do not know how, but man, thank God. Because I couldn't even sleep at homeless shelters. And if a homeless shelter did let me in, I thought I was suspicious. You know what I'm saying? So I slept on the streets most of the night, eating out of dumpsters, and then I would always find some kind of gutter or something to climb a building and sleep on the second story, something like that. I would, because I wouldn't want to sleep on the ground. I was afraid they were going to snatch me off the streets. I mean, it was bad. And then I got my V2K. You see, I don't know if you ever hear any friends' voices. I hear my wife's voice and my sister's voice.
Yeah, I do
My
too.
wife's voice will tell me stuff about murder and all this, and I'm going to get murdered. And I hear it to this day. I've just learned how to ignore it, man. Just ignore it. Now, if I'm stressed out and they start doing it, I'll react to it and start feeding into what it's saying, you know. Or if I'm having a down day and my sister will be like, oh, it'll be my sister's voice, but she'll be like, David, why are you even reading the Bible? Why do you want to read the Bible? God don't even want nothing to do with you. Look, you're targeted. Your wife's ruined. Sometimes I'll be like, man, maybe she's right, you know? So just crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, for me, it's become about how do I survive this? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my whole life has been turned into self-care and survival. Like anything I can do to make myself feel some ease and comfort, I'm gonna do, because I don't get very much sleep, bro. I don't get very much sleep, and I don't have very many good memories in this program. Like they have put me up there on the watch list as somebody who's dangerous and who could possibly strike again. You know what I mean? Like that's how
Well,
they have me labeled. And it's all bullshit, brother. It's all bullshit. It's all based around a case where I got bad information and reacted to it the wrong way, and then they blew it up, and now I'm on every cop's radar for the rest of my life, though. Like, how can you do that? In America, we have rights. These guys are working to, they're making it to where we don't have any rights. You don't have the right to say whatever you want about your government. They're heating you up right now.
yeah,
You can't say,
Yeah.
I was in the back of a police car and I'm looking at my profile, right? And it says approach with caution, a dangerous individual. So I know I know what you're going through, man. Crazy. So
it's
that's how they
bad.
approach. Hey, what are you doing?
Guns
that-
out, yeah.
I don't know if they do that to you.
They had the SWAT team come to my house
Yeah.
after I got into a car accident that they made happen. They had a truck plow into me, and then they sent the fucking SWAT team to my house, dude. They had a helicopter
Wow.
drop down in front of my mom, and they had a guy with a rifle point the rifle at me, and he said, "Don't move, boy, or we'll shoot." And I'm like, I said, "Don't shoot, I'm with child." And then I held my fat stomach that they made inflate, and I said, "Don't shoot, I'm with child." They didn't laugh or nothing, man. They didn't laugh or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
So you said you have drones that have her?
I have drones any place that I go to that I stay at. Drones are in my backyard, my front yard, the side. There's drones. They do a thing where they hold the perimeter. So they'll be right on the outside of my property line. But when I first got into the program, when I first got into it, they dropped the drone down on the window when they were messing with me, and they had the drone sit right there at eye level and stare at me.
Wow.
They're fucking ruthless, bro. The guy already told me, he's like, "I'll come to your funeral if you kill yourself." He's trying to get me to end my life. He's like, "I can't watch this anymore." Because they talk to me sometimes. And
Yeah.
he's like basically saying like, "How much are you gonna endure?" And I'm like, "Baby, I'm going to the end." You know what I mean? I'm going to the end of this fucking program. I don't care what it takes. They may put me in prison, and if they do, if I get incarcerated for a crime, I'll try to reach out to somebody and get some information to write. I don't know how you would do it, but I'll try to keep in contact with you about everything that's going on with me.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
they've literally, we have it on film, dropped the drone. The drone landed on my car. It's a
I need
military
to find
drone.
it. I can
It's
send
huge.
him that.
It
video.
was huge. And it landed on the top. It took the whole top part of my car. It was massive. And we've got a lot of pictures of that. I'm gonna have David send you a couple pictures of my burns so you can see how
Yeah, I
bad
sent
it
you
was.
one already.
What, the one of my neck?
Yeah.
No, that's not of my neck. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is bad right there.
Yeah, that they burned me on my foot. Yeah, they burnt me a lot. But the worst burn they ever did to me was I was homeless and I parked to go to sleep, and they burnt. I've got an implant lodged right here. Okay, so they must have gone up through my mouth and inserted it way up here. So they used that. So when they burnt me for 35 minutes. It ruined every nerve in my nose. It turned my nose purple. I had fluid coming out my eyes, fluid coming out my ears, and fluid coming out my mouth as I screamed for mercy. I screamed bloody murder for like 35 minutes while they did it. They didn't stop. So they used this particular implant to cause the pain. And when they got done with me, I was burnt here, 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 and my whole face was just drooping from nerve damage. For 35 minutes, I screamed bloody murder for mercy. I said, please, I'm begging you, please stop. And I screamed, I saw a car parked a couple cars down with a guy in it and some Mustang. I guess he was behind it or he was monitoring it, something. But I couldn't move. I was in so much pain. I mean, literally fluid coming out my ears. I had liquid coming out my ears. It was disgusting. It was horrible. And then I passed out from the pain. Literally.
And I sent you the video of the drone on YouTube.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, a drone we seen out here in the outback. And remember, it was 4 in the morning, and I just happened to look at the camera. I'm like, look at that drone. You could see it, and I sent you. It's in Messenger, but it's a YouTube video.
I have a question for you, both of you. What do you think is the future of targeting? Is it going to get worse, or do you think we're going to have our day in court and it's going to get better? Do you think that this is like the beginning of a new era in law enforcement where they're going to start using this technology on criminals? Maybe they'll start arresting people without cops involved. You know what I mean? They'll show up with a V2K voice and say, "You're under arrest, don't move, hit a button, you freeze up, then the cops come in and arrest you." Where do you think
I think it's
the
going to
end
get
is?
worse. I don't think it's never going to get. But I think the best thing to do is find spirituality or something like that. Because shielding has not been working for us at all. You can spend $1,000 of shielding. They want you to waste your money. Like you said, they'll make you think something works for a week, and then they'll turn it up on you and say, "Ha ha, you wasted your money." And TIs don't have them up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, man,
Are you able to work?
When they're hitting me, I sometimes can hold a job, but they've had me I'm an electrician. I'm a commercial electrician. They've had me out of my trade so long, I should have already journeyed out already. I should be making like really good money, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
Right.
and then they show up and they steal my tools. They steal my work tools. They've probably stolen in tools. They've probably stolen, I'd say $600 worth of tools from me.
Wow.
And for somebody that doesn't make that much money, that's a lot, man. I have to keep replacing tools and getting new
yeah,
stuff. So keeping a job has been kind of hard for me, but they gave me a break finally. After I went to prison, they got all happy. They were like, "Oh, you did the right thing. You turned yourself in and took the long sentence." And they gave me a break. When I was in prison, they turned off completely and they went away for 5 months. Then I got out and I told them when I was in prison, I said, "Look, I took the deal. I went to prison. I want a fucking break now. I want a break. I'm serious." And so when I got out, they messed with me a little bit when I first got out. Then they gave me a break. So I've been on a break now for 5 months.
Oh, great.
that's
Yeah, but
good.
they already told me they're coming back.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
already told me. They're like, "Oh yeah, don't get comfortable." You know what I mean?
See, you got these people that'll sit on, um, you know, we're going to stop targeting for you. Like, targeted justice, I'm not even going to give my opinion because I'm neutral on the subject. But anyway, they'll promise we're going to stop targeting in 2023. They've been promising that for 5 years. So I'm not going to give up here and false hope. I would prepare for it to get worse, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Don't sit
Exactly.
around and wait on somebody to stop it for you. You better be preparing to find out ways to get around it, ways to, when you're getting hit, shield, deal with it, and cope with it.
That's the
Absolutely.
best thing to do, learn how to cope with it. And TIs, if you're new, try to ignore the gang stalking. That's the best advice I can give. I learned late in the game, ignore them and give them no reaction. Now, when they sent a gang stalker who hit me going 100 miles an hour on the highway, I pulled on the side of the road. I was taking shots of the drone that was hovering above me. And when I pulled on the highway, they sent a gang stalker who hit me, who they were belted in. They hit me going 100 miles an hour. They literally hit my Dodge Charger so hard, it took the trunk and compacted it all the way up to the driver's seat. So the trunk smashed into the driver's seat. So I thought I broke my back. But I was in such a spin going down the driveway. I'm going down the highway. I let go of the wheel. I no longer had control of the car. And I just called out for Jesus. I said, Jesus, literally, take over. I can't, I'm done. I thought this is it. I'm gonna die because I was in such a spin going so fast. And when it came to, they were climbing out of the car. They had been strapped in, okay, heavily strapped in. None of them were hurt, and I was the one who was hurt. And then I ended up, the fire department and the ambulance took me to the hospital. And when they released me, there was no breaks. They tried to kill me over. They over medicated me with pain medicine. They gave me morphine and some other kind of pain medicine, and I could barely talk. I mean, I'm like, I don't think y'all are supposed to give me all of that pain medicine at one time. That's an overload. But when I got to the hotel, this guy introduced himself. He brought a gun in my hotel room. He said, "Do you need this? You want to see this? You want to hold this?" And I said, "No, I really don't." And all these men, there was a black ops helicopter flying above the hotel real low. He said, "Oh, and these men pulled up in suits." He said, "They're here for you, Holly." It looked like FBI people. He said, "They're here for you, not for me. I'm not the one." He said, "But I will take you to get something to eat because I was starving." But I mean, he was kind, but at the same time, he was wanting me to take the gun and end it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I try to understand the people that are doing this. Like, I'm pro-military, you know what I mean? I'm all about military. I
Yep.
think they're great. My dad's a Vietnam veteran, a Marine from the 1st and 5th Marine Corps Division. My family's got a bunch of Marines in it, you know what I mean? When I was younger, I wanted to be a cop. I was a sheriff's explorer, and they hate that, by the way. The fact that I was in their law enforcement community as a kid, they fucking hate that.
Yeah.
And I try to figure out the kind of people that are doing this job, and I think these guys are all government. You know what I mean? And they have ties to the FBI, to every law enforcement agency.
Yes.
But I try to reason with these guys, and the best thing they can come up with is to tell me to fucking kill myself.
Right.
Like, how about giving me another option? How about tell me to move to Spain or tell me to go to another country and stop bugging people? But they don't even give us that chance. They tell us to pick up a gun and kill somebody.
Take it. Yeah, my
Have you
aunt
ever watched Brian Two's videos?
Who is it?
Brian Two.
TEW.
Yeah. Well, he went to different countries and he followed him everywhere.
Everywhere.
Seriously.
Yeah.
He's a DOD whistleblower. Like we talk every now and then. He calls me every now and then. He's got videos on YouTube too. That's where I get a lot of my information from.
That's what I was going to ask you, where you get your information from.
Yeah, he shares a lot of information with me, and he's getting tortured big time in New York City. But he's been to like 6 or 7 different countries: China, Nicaragua, Russia, and it didn't stop nowhere he went.
You
Damn.
remember Edward Snowden, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He knew about all of this. He whistleblew a lot about this. And, he was really a hero. He knew a lot. He learned a lot. And when he released all that information, he now lives in Russia because he can't live here because they want him for treason. And, it's sad. Julian Assange, is that his name? Assange. He's in prison. WikiLeaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All these people who whistleblow literally have to leave the country to get away from this hell. But yeah, I believe it's going to follow you if you leave the country. But
they also say these things work too. This is copper plates. Another TI sent them to us. It's copper plates taped together with copper tape around it, and it's supposed to help absorb frequencies. We got 2 of them. We really haven't noticed no difference, but it helps some people. But it helps the woman that sent it to us. So she says that she holds it over her head like that when she's getting hit, and it really helps her and gives her relief.
So have you yourself, I'm trying to find other TIs that have this implant in their stomach. Have you experienced this yourself where you've tried to drink alcohol and nothing happens?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
both have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when you said that, I was like,
yeah, that's why we were like,
Brother.
that's why I looked at her and smiled. I was like, yeah,
yeah, both
definitely.
of us.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't
Yes,
like
half
me.
gallons.
We barely get a buzz. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they don't like me very much. So they like to inflate mine to where it's uneven. So you can see there's a bag pushing out of the stomach, but they inflate mine and it's uneven and it looks like I'm pregnant. And they leave me like that. And they'll give me a break every 4 months. They'll take it down. But it's insane, dude. These people, I try to figure out who I'm dealing with, and I don't think they care for human life. You know what I mean? They don't have that concern for their fellow man. They're more about
No.
just making that money,
Yep.
doing whatever they have to do.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
ruthless. I used to communicate with my handler by my mind. And I would say in my mind, you know, you are so low. How do you sleep at night? Because I'm with you and I know you sleep. How do you sleep at night? You're just ruthless, you're cruel, you're evil. Um, you know, all the while I left and came back, left and came back, because I didn't want to be homeless, you know, and I knew when I leave here for good, I'm going to be homeless because I sold my house and, you know, but they were all in my house, you know, when I wasn't there, they were in there. They were in there when I was asleep. God only knows what they did. Um, but, you know, as far as illnesses, I've been blinded in my right eye, completely 100%, couldn't see a thing, nothing. They had an implant here and an implant here in my eyebrows. I literally lost all the hair where my implant was. So it would be eyebrow, no hair, eyebrow, eyebrow, no hair, eyebrow, same spot, lost hair in both spots. So when they lasered me, they would hit here and here, and I lost my vision in my right eye completely. My eye doctor was like, "What kind of trauma have you been through?" She said, you know, when I woke up, she said, "You put my skills to the test, girl." She said, "That was bad." So they're ruthless. They'll do anything to hurt you, to maim you, and destroy your life. So to new TIs, the best thing they can do is educate themselves, ignore these gang stalkers, drive defensively because they want to cause car accidents. That's their
Oh yeah,
main
they
one of,
do. Oh yeah, they
yeah,
do with their lights. They blind me with their lights.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
They blind me with their lights. Yeah, that's crazy. They blind me with their lights. They got me into a car accident where I got hit by a guy in a truck. I mean, they're just ruthless, man. And I don't know. I think that some of us are going to have to start teaming up and going to like people who do have money need to start chipping in some money so we can all go down to the Capitol and protest. Something's going to have to be done because I've sent I've sent information to the FBI. I've sent information to the Department of Homeland Security. I've never gotten a call back, bro. Never. I've
right,
never gotten a call back. So the funny thing is you're calling these guys and asking them to investigate themselves.
right.
That's not going to happen, right?
No,
Nope.
They're not going to investigate
no,
themselves.
no, no. They're in total control of this, complete. As sad as it is, as sad as it is, and I love the military too. As sad as it is, they're involved.
So have they
But I don't
directly?
think they all know about it. I mean, I think it's high up. I think it's high up. I don't think all these military veterans and all these military, you know, all the soldiers, I don't think they know
I
about.
don't
I
think,
don't think they're all
no.
involved.
I think some of them really think, hey, we're defending our country. None of that goes on. I think it's kept really, really.
Quiet. Now Tony was a Freemason. The Masons are involved. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Freemasons are involved.
Have you noticed that they move people into your area to stalk you? Like, have you
Oh
noticed
yeah.
your neighbors are stalkers too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They moved people in just about all at the same time around this house. We got one here, here, here. They're all around us. Yes.
No.
It kind of makes you think what you should do. You know, if they're not following the law, why should you be following the law? Like I started thinking about this earlier, and I actually called a friend and I was like, you know, maybe it's time for me as a felon to arm myself because the cops are doing illegal things. They're attacking me. They're doing false imprisonment. They're doing sex abuse. Isn't it time legally for me to be able to arm myself and say, okay, motherfucker, if you want to come over here and do that, then I'm strapped now. Like, when do you have enough to where you're finally just like, I'm not going to go Manchurian candidate or active shooter, but leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what
Exactly.
I'm like. That's where I'm at now after almost 9 years, you know.
Right.
But then you're just a target. They see you as a target and you're going to catch lead. You know what I mean? It's not a easy
I
game to win.
wonder. I really wonder how many of these active shooters have been actual targets. You know, over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of active shooters in schools. We've seen a lot of active shooters just in general places shooting up the military, you know, specifically. And I wonder how many of these people really are hearing voices from voice to skull and are being gang stalked to high heaven, and there's probably, at least half of them, I bet, are targets.
We got big cans of bear mace. We got a big can of bear mace. We got 2 tasers. We got a mace gun.
David set the bear mace off one night. We were choking to death.
Oh yeah, I dropped it and it squirted everywhere. Oh, we're in the kitchen putting milk all over our face. That was funny, wasn't it?
I was like, Dave was like, I want it off, and I'm like, oh my God, we couldn't breathe. You take a bear down, right?
Just by falling on the floor and spraying. I can send you the name of that stuff if you want.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. Maybe we should put that message out there. Get mace, get pepper spray, get taser guns, go the non-lethal route. Because once you pick up a gun and you're a targeted individual, they see one thing: you're a fucking target. That's it. They're gonna shoot you. You know what I mean? That's all that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But you get driven to that point where you can't take anymore. You just can't take anymore. And that's when I pray they give you a break. Yeah.
That's what they want.
What's the longest break you guys have ever gotten from this program?
I got 1 week of no drones recently, and I thought they were gone. They're back.
I get a couple weeks at a time, and then I'll be like, Holly, I think it's over. And then they'll come back full force.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've never but I haven't got a break from the blacklisting since it started. Everybody's always mean or abrasive, or I'll ask somebody for. I learned when I was homeless, I learned how to I could go to a city, and within a week, the whole downtown area, I could map it out with my brain. Because what would happen was my GPS would be hacked. It would always send me to the wrong location.
Mine too, bro. Mine too.
Or if I ask somebody directions, they're going to point me the wrong place. So I had to learn how to map. I got New Orleans mapped out, Pensacola. I got them all. I can go there and show you around the city because I walked everywhere,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned how to map stuff out with my brain.
Hey, can you guys do me a favor?
Yeah.
I got to go to the bathroom real quick. You guys still have time?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got
have a little bit of time?
Yeah.
If you want, can you talk a little bit about your experience a little bit more? And I'm going to go to the head, and then I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that okay? Just talk about talk to the newly targeted people that are watching this. Are going to watch it.
Well, yeah. If you're newly targeted, you need to slow down. Don't react to these people. Try your best not to react. Don't freak out. Realize there's lies being told about you. Your name's being smeared. And they're going to try to drive you to suicide. So you want to try to, even try to be nice to people. I know that's hard.
Yeah, you're going to have break-ins to your home. So go ahead and get cameras outside and inside. Find a way to do that. It's going to be very important. Now, you don't want to hook it to your phone per se because they're in your phone. So find another way around that. But get cameras outside and inside. Try to ignore the gang stalkers the best that you can. Don't give them reactions. That's what they're looking for. So the best thing to do is avoid and ignore. Duly noted in your mind, but avoid it and ignore it. And whatever you do, make sure your house is locked up, your apartment's locked up before you go to sleep, and make it to where they can't get in while you're asleep.
And don't
because the first chance they get to implant you, they will. Now they 1013 me when they were one thing that you'll notice in the beginning of your targeting is that you're going to have a lot of static. Your hair will stand on end. You'll touch somebody and shock them. That's how you know you're being hit with microwave radiation. You will have a ton of static in your hair, ton of static. I went to the hospital. I said, look, I've got static in my hair. They're putting stuff. I want to be tested for drugs. I was telling them I want to be tested for this. They 1013 me. They sent me to a mental ward against my will. I said, who's 1013ing me? The military. I was told the military was sending me.
And try your best not to go out with that, not to get that mad at the world attitude and just start mistreating everybody you come across, because I went through that stage, and it just makes the smear campaigns look true.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't act out. Yeah.
You get that mad at the world, man. What are you looking? You know, just wanting to be mean to everybody because you feel like everybody's in on it anyway, so you might as well be that way.
Yeah, they want a reason to arrest you. So don't give them the reason. Again, just try to ignore it. I was in church and Bible study. They were sending people into Bible study and in the church and sticking a phone in my face. I went to my father's funeral. They set a guy right next to me who's filming me while I'm crying at my dad's funeral. They'll do anything. They'll go to any lengths.
Man, that's horrible. I can't believe they did that to you at your father's funeral. They made me miss my grandfather's funeral. They made me sick the week that they were having all this stuff.
They made me miss mine too.
Isn't that fucked up, man? It's like,
Yep.
who does that?
I know.
I would
it's
let a
close to the
prisoner.
fan.
Sick individuals,
Yeah.
sick people. Definitely not on God's side, that's for sure.
Hey, how does it feel when you try to tell your story to somebody and they don't believe you? Isn't that horrible when you're talking to a TI or something? You start telling them your story and they're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. That happens to me with TIs all the time. I'll tell them that there's a bag in my stomach and they go, they don't need a bag in your stomach. They can hit you with direct energy weapons. I'm like, no, listen, dude, they're intercepting the alcohol that's hitting my stomach. I don't know how they do it, but they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that.
Now that you told me that, I'm wondering if that's what they did to me, you know, where I had that incision on my stomach, and it was opened up. Because it leaked fluid.
Wow.
They
I don't know how accurate them EEG meters are, but when you put it at her stomach, it goes off like crazy.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've heard that they're not accurate, but who knows? But I know if you put it at her stomach, it goes crazy. When the meters,
Yeah, they definitely. I hated smoking. I despised smoke. I wouldn't even come to my mom's house because she smoked. I despised it. And during the beginning of the targeting, I went to the store and bought a pack of cigarettes. And I was like, what am I doing? Well, they were sending me thoughts, buy cigarettes, buy cigarettes, buy cigarettes. So I bought cigarettes, started smoking, got addicted, and I hated it. I hated smoke. Now I've quit smoking. I'm vaping, trying to get off of it. It's taken a long time, but I'm working on it.
my ears are starting to pop.
Yeah, I'm heating up. Sorry.
Hey,
Same
you know
here.
what?
Yeah.
I really want to thank you guys for doing this video with me because they're obviously attacking you right now. They're attacking you
Yeah.
guys now. And for
My
anybody
ears are
that's
popping.
this is what it looks like. They're going through it, and I'm going to go through it pretty soon. It's going to start happening to me all over again. And this is what it's like for targeted individuals. We live every day in a nightmare that was created by the United States government. Well, who knows who created it, but I can tell you the US government's doing it. And if I want to see law enforcement officers, all I have to do is look in my rearview mirror half the time. They're following me everywhere I go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I need a
Yeah.
cop, he's not far away at any given time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it can I think it can get better. I think that in time people are going to find out what they're doing and then our Congress and Senate is going to start passing bills to make it safer, but I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime, you know? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so.
Are you
Yeah,
guys
we're
getting
getting heated up.
Yeah,
are you
they're
getting
heating
hit so
up.
bad that you got to go?
Huh?
Are you getting
We
hit
gotta
so
go
bad?
soon because we gotta have supper. She cooked something for us.
Oh, they'll
and
make
Okay.
it so
stepfather.
they'll make it so unbearable. It's coming from back here. They'll make it so unbearable that we have to walk into another room. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this
We
short.
live with her stepfather and we have supper every night, so we'll have to do that soon too.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you. So what's the hope, man? What's our hope for being in the TI program? What are we going to hope for?
Man, my hope's in God and trusting God.
That's right.
That-
That's right.
That there's another life after here and we're gonna get blessed so for enduring.
That's right.
Because you got to look at Peter, Paul. I mean, people think,
Jesus was stopped.
yeah,
I mean, Christ was stopped.
but you know, if you look at Paul got sawn in two. Peter got hung upside down on a cross. I mean, Jesus says, "Take up my cross and follow me." And I realize some viewers may not be Jesus, and you know, I respect him just as much. I'm no special person, but that's who I try to follow. It's Christ's teachings.
We believe in Jesus. We read the Bible, and then we listen to the commentary and have it broken down for us. And then David knows the Bible too. So We start our mornings off with that. And we do supplements. So TIs, lion's mane mushrooms extract, turkey tail mushroom extract, turkey tail mushroom extract, which Tony had me do all the time, and you know the CIA knows it all. But turkey tail extract drops, you put it under your tongue and hold it there for a minute or two, and then you swallow it. That helps kill cancer cells. Okay, so China and Japan use that for their chemo patients, and it's a good supplement to use to try and counteract all this microwave radiation. It's a good thing to do.
And they got some aprotropic smart drops, and like on Facebook they call it liquid Adderall. But if you look at the ingredients, it's nothing but mushrooms. 5 different kinds of mushrooms. It's reishi, lion's mane, shiitake, cordyceps, and turkey tail. And it's all blended in a bottle. It's called aprotropics. Now it's expensive, but man, we felt 100% better
every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. The lion's mane helps enhance your brain. It helps Alzheimer's and dementia patients.
Focus your whole body.
Yeah, it increases your focus, your memory. You get some of your memory going, correctly. So that's a good thing to use. And then
B12. A lot of people are depleted on B12, but you get the sublingual B12, the drops that you put under your tongue.
And also, weapons deplete your vitamin D. Your vitamin D. So your vitamin D levels will drop significantly with weapons. So some kind of supplement, some kind of supplement for vitamin D and magnesium. What else do we do? Any kind of vitamin supplement will help. These weapons affect your heart, so you really got to keep tabs on that. They caused my father to have a heart attack. Now they took my dad out because he would have been able to help me. He would have had connections that would have helped me with the military. So they had to get rid of him. And he was in perfect health. So, yeah.
Well, David and Holly, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. Hey, do you mind if I post this on TI web pages and stuff? Facebook
No,
pages?
not at all.
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
Okay,
No,
awesome.
that's what we're about, man, spreading the word. Because
that's right.
If I'd have had these videos and knew what was going on in 2015 and 2000, it would have saved me a 5-day coma. I was in a coma 5 days because I took all my Haldol and Ativan. Then I cut my throat and attempt after attempt, it would have saved me all that.
That's right.
Yeah, they had pronounced me brain dead. My dad was an hour away from pulling the plug, and boom, I come out of it. And the doctor told me, "You've been out for 5 days in a coma." I said, "I ain't been here for 5 days." When I came to, I ripped my catheter out. I freaked out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy because I didn't want to live no more because I was tired of getting stalked and I didn't understand at all what was going on. So these videos, that's why I make them, to let people know you're not crazy. It is going on. You just got to figure out ways to deal with it. Reach out to other TIs, real TIs.
Yeah.
Try to find some people that you can relate with.
And it's hard to know who's real and who's
Yes,
not.
it is.
Because the fake ones can present themselves as the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced 1 or 2 calls and I thought one was the real deal. Not even close.
You talking about that girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had me fooled and I'm not easily fooled. So they're good. They're well paid and they're good. You got to be really careful.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I got to figure out how to take this record. I'm not very tech savvy, even though I'm an electrician.
There should be something where you can stop the recording right now before we leave the meeting.
That's right. Stop.